Back pain. Let's have a look at back pain. Now, just like neck pain, we've got to get rid of the causes. All right? So you need to educate your client on the major causes of back pain. So what are the major causes? All right. Well, there are really three major causes. The first cause is seldom happens, and this is a very large impact. With all the people that have back pain, it's the number one musculoskeletal pain in the world. With all the people that have back pain, very few, it's from a big accident. All right, these are not when someone's sort of back goes out. It's not from a big incident. It's actually generally quite the opposite. The person will pick up the shampoo bottle in the shower and then they can hardly move, and they're on muscle relaxants and lying flat in bed for 3 days. All right, so let me explain to you why this happens. All right, so number one, I said to you, is a big impact, rare. No, so it's a combination generally of 2 and 3, meaning back pain generally occurs because of, and I'm going to go through this with you, because of repetitive trauma or sustained trauma. So what are these? Okay, slouching at the computer, like this, slouching down there. What you do when you do this is you've lost your inward lumbar curve. When you're sitting up tall or walking, you have that inward lumbar curve, right? The lordotic curve, as it's known. So that's great. Then all your vertebrae stack one on top of the other and everything's fine. You've got your normal spinal curves. When you slouch, you change that curve. You flatten your back out and you change it the other way. And this is what puts pressure on your disc and your soft tissues and your ligaments. You're just basically resting on your ligaments. Your muscles that are meant to support either side of your spine, your rectus spinae muscles, and multifidus and all the rest, have basically switched off because they're not needing to do any work. You are just resting on your ligaments. So think of that and doing that for hours at a time as you slouch in front on the sofa, at the table, in front of your desk, watching this video right now. Okay, so sit tall, stand tall, walk tall. And this is why a lot of people feel so much better when they say, oh yeah, sit down, but get up and walk around, I'm much better. Why? Because they take that slouch position, get rid of that slouch position. All right, so that's one thing. The other, as I do, is repetitive trauma, and that is poor bending and lifting techniques. So instead of bending at the hips like you should, all right, bending at the hips, you are bending the lower back to pick things up. All right, so you must keep the inward curve as you bend over to pick up. Now you can do that you can slightly bend your knees as you bend over. If you tie through the hamstrings, you can even keep your legs straight if you're that flexible. Or you can pick up with what they call the golfer's pickup, where they cantilever the back leg out, but it's always, the secret is this, keeping that inward lumbar curve. All right? So you want to teach your clients, I'll go back a bit. So what happens is this, all of these micro trauma after micro trauma from slouching and poor lifting and bending techniques, what happens is finally your back, and this is how your back sort of goes out as such, what happens is finally it's had enough. So it's got trauma, so much trauma, and then bang, and your muscles spasm and you flat on your back. All right. So it's not, because think about it, you can't pick up a pencil and damage your back. A pencil weighs nothing, or pick up the shampoo in the shower. But this is how the majority happens. They said, I just went and I picked up the tennis ball from the backyard. I'm screaming in pain. I dropped to my knees. Well, a tennis ball weighs nothing. So this is why this happens. It is literally the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's just the last thing your back can cope with, and that's why that happens. It is accumulation of trauma after trauma from slouching and poor bending and lifting techniques. So when you bend and lift, you want to bend at the hips. Okay, keeping the lumbar curve. All right, so that's what you want to teach your clients. Okay, get those causes out of the picture, and again, they're already on the mend. They've stopped harming their backs, and their backs can start healing. All right, now Now we've got that done. Let's have a look at how we're going to treat someone with back pain.